All right, 3, 2, 1. Wait for people to hop on here. Slowly getting on. See if we can get this live stream rocking and rolling here. This live stream rocking and let's wait on some folks here. Let me jump on. We're going to talk about Chris Watts, Missy Bevers, maybe a little bit of the Delphi murders, but definitely some Missy Bevers and Chris Watts stuff today, for sure. Give it a little bit. Looks like we got some people hopping on here. Hey, if you're on here, if you jump on, please let yourself be known. Jump in the chat. I want to answer as many questions as I can. I'm going to do some screen sharing. So if you're on here, drop a question in the chat. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, please. That would be so awesome. But I'm going to talk about the Missy Bevers case. I'm going to talk about what I think maybe we're looking past a little bit. So I'm gonna dive into it today. We're going the no holds barred today. We're going for it. So give it a little bit longer. See if we get a handful more people on here on this live. I want to definitely maximize. So if you're on here, please talk in the chat. Drop a line in the chat. Let me know that you're on. I'd love to hear from you. We're going to actually go ahead and switch. Awesome. 4 people watching. We got a few coming in. Hey, leave me a message. Talk in the chat. Let's get questions going. This is Missy Bevers' case. This is Chris Watts' case. I know the Chris Watts documentary is on. I have not been on here in a while. I really appreciate you guys watching all my videos and subscribing and leaving comments and doing all that cool stuff. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. I never thought I would ever be doing true crime videos and live streams on YouTube. So I am so incredibly thankful for all of the support that I have gotten. But yeah, if you're on here, please leave me a question. Let me know you're here. Let me know what's on your mind. I'd love to have this be kind of an open discussion here, a little bit of an open forum. I'm still kind of working on growing the subscriber base. I know I kind of let this, I posted this very recently. So if there's could be a handful of people who just haven't seen it yet, or a lot of folks who haven't seen it yet. But I'd love to get a few more people on. If not, I'll go ahead and start because this video gets posted anyways. But we're talking about the Chris Watts murders today. We're talking a little bit about the Delphi case, the Delphi murders or Delphi murders, however you want to say it. Tomato, tomato. I've heard it said a number of ways. Wow, a lot of likes coming in on the video. That's interesting. Interesting. Not seeing a whole lot of chitter chat though. Let's see if we'll switch here. Would love to see some a little bit of chitter chat here if we can get some questions coming in. We're talking about Missy Bevers, talking about Chris Watts. Here momentarily. Probably start in another minute. Either way. So, but yeah, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button, leave a comment, all the cool stuff that you do on YouTube that makes YouTube so gosh darn neat. I love it. I love it. I'm going to use a couple videos today. I'm going to switch to some screen sharing. We're going to look at a few things there on that end. But yeah, if you're on, please leave a comment. Hit the chat button, get a question in here. Stephanie, hey, good to hear ya. Yeah, please share this too. I have some ideas on the Missy Bevers case that I am going to jump on here. Yeah, Stephanie, I jumped on kind of last minute. Please share this, guys. last minute just because one, I just had a day where I wasn't doing a whole lot of stuff, and two, I enjoy doing these videos, so it makes me a happy person. But Stephanie's in the chat. But yeah, I'm going to be going over little bit of the Missy Bevers stuff. I wouldn't say I have new information necessarily. I wouldn't call it new information, but I did do a video a while back, and I kind of want to go in a little deeper on that video, and maybe discuss some things that I've seen and some theories I have regarding the case. So I'm super excited to have a little bit of time to actually do this today. So what I'm going to do is we get a few more people coming in. Let's see, because I'm up here on this other stream as well. Okay, a few more people coming in. We'll get rocking and rolling. So I'm going to tell it like I think it is. In this case, based on a handful of people, we're talking about Missy Bevers. I'll do Chris Watts stuff here in a second. Talking about the Missy Bevers case, let me go into this screen share here. Let's get in here and share the screen. Let's do this. Right there. Let's go here. See if we can get this rolling. Right there. And here we go. Let's do that. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So let's see here. Can we see the screen share here? Because that's what I am hoping folks can see here. Yep. Looks like yeah, looks like we're up. Looks like we're up. Awesome. So Missy Bevers case. Here we go. First thing on this is there's a lot of folks who continue to say that they suspect that this person was a female. And I'm just going to be super honest as I can put it. The chances of this person being a female are two options, slim and none. That's a very strong opinion. But two things to that point of this person potentially being a female or not. The first thing is a lot of folks try and say, just due to the way this person moves, that they think it's likely a female. We know from research, biomechanical studies, that it's very tough to say whether or not someone is a female, especially when in this case their body is covered, or male. Very tough to say either way. There are some certain things that females do at times, in terms of how they walk, how the hips move, the overall gait, stride length, things like that. There's kind of averages, or the expected kind of general population view of how people move that we can apply and say, you know, is that person likely a male? Is that person likely a female? But in this case, particularly, I would almost for sure, just shy of 100% certainty, say that in this case we are definitely looking at a male. I would say the male, while tough to gauge height, and I have a video I'm going to show here in just a second. While tough to gauge height, this person's probably around average height, just judging by, if we go here, where that person's head is in the door jamb. I'm only about 5'9", 5'10" on a good day with shoes, I guess. But my head is roughly in the same territory door jamb wise. Here in the United States, most of our door jambs are around 7 feet in height. Our ceilings are normally 8. I'm not positive on these, but I would say these are likely about 7 feet, 7 foot door jambs right here. almost certain that that's the case, which makes this person probably right around average height. Also, I saw Stephanie posted shorter, stocky male. Very, very likely that this person is a male. Let's see, had a question come in. Let's see here. Yeah, so the door jamb is really our good frame of reference. You see a lot of people saying that there's this technology that exists where you can gauge how tall someone is, and you can use cameras and do all these calculations. I'm just going to tell you all right now that it's stuff like that that has gotten innocent people put in jail. It's got innocent people put in prison, and that's what we don't want, right? Where there's already way too much of that as it is. It's not good science, because there's good science. You can always have you have constants that are certain, right? Whenever you're dealing with cameras and perspective, there's a lot of funky things that can happen. Even if you're looking at two objects in the same perspective, there's phenomena that happen where things can look bigger, things can look smaller. Thank you guys for hopping on, by the way. Feel free to drop a question. I want this to be as Q&A as I possibly can make it. I know this got shared on one of the pages, so I got some little bit of free time today, so I'm making a video. But back to the perspective thing, there's actually a famous case in Texas, albeit, where a man was sentenced, and everybody, all the witnesses said this was a tall or a shorter gentleman. Everybody said that this person was very short in stature. There's witnesses saying they were looking him in the eye. And these witnesses were about 5'6", 5'7", so a much shorter male. And the person they ended up arresting and convicting was over 6 feet tall, well over 6 feet tall, actually a taller gentleman. The good news is, thanks to a great podcaster here in America, here in the States, out of Michigan, they were able to actually get this person freed. He is now out. Of course, the Texas DA in this area is I think it's Tyler, Texas. I think it's Tyler County, but they, of course, still continue to fight it. But I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes of this video. That's an Oklahoma term, if you guys don't know. Meat and potatoes, meaning I'm going to get into the kind of the substance of what I wanted to talk about today. Is first that this person is likely not a female. We know this. We can predict this with a lot of certainty just based on historical data. The chances of an invader, in this case, both invading as well as committing the murder on a female, the statistics, the FBI statistics say this is very, 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 very low in probability. It is of the lowest probability that this is a female that you could possibly have. All statistics, and that's what a lot of times we need to use when trying to make educated guesses in an investigation, educated assumptions. Almost certainly we can guarantee that this person is a male. And when I look at this person move, I watch people move every day. It's what I do. I absolutely see male kind of written all over the gait. And I honestly see a specific male when I look at this, and it's I want to be careful in how I say it's going to be very, very obvious who I'm talking about. But there's a family member that's connected to this case that was a potential suspect, or I would guess a lead, at least a person of interest. And this person of interest, yes, Stephanie, yes. So this person of interest was, I believe, interviewed, from all my knowledge. He was also, I believe they did an interrogation on him. I don't know to what extent. I would love to have somebody possibly send me I've gotten a little bit of the documents on this thing from some various people. I would love to have more. More would be amazing. But I think the police in this particular case may have alibied someone before they had all of their ducks in a row. When it comes to alibis, well, and that's what I'm getting at. When it comes to alibis, sometimes people are a little quick to either believe or not believe alibis. So the source of the alibi says that this individual was supposedly out of city or out of state at the time in a vehicle on a drive. Here's the issue that I have with that is I've looked all over for this data, and I would love for somebody to show it to me. I've looked all over for this information, and I have not found another witness that can attest to this person being out of town. It was actually, they took him, this particular person of interest, they took this person of interest at their word that this is what happened. This person of interest also brought a, potentially allegedly brought a bloody shirt to a cleaner, and that was just kind of brushed off. But the alibi for everything that I know, and unless there's another person that attests to this, the alibi was only supplied by the person of interest themselves. And I have a huge problem with that. And I'm going to get into a little bit of the Gait stuff as well. Yeah, the dogs. I see where you said it was the dogs, or that he said it was the dogs. It anytime there's people that have been convicted on such on such lesser circumstantial evidence than even is in this case with this person of interest, that I think this absolutely should have been looked into more. He does have an incredibly distinct walk. It's very interesting. Gait analysis, ever since I started doing these with Mr. Armchair Detective, I have really dove deep into the world of investigative gait analysis in terms of identifying people. And it's something that's used a lot more than I thought by the FBI. I had no idea just that it was so prevalent, at least in terms of whether eliminating a suspect or possibly maybe having interest in someone who you maybe weren't initially going to have interest in. But we're going to get into how this person walks right here, because I think this is real interesting information. And I'm just going to do a full-blown breakdown of what I'm seeing. We're going to really dial it in. Let me go in here to my video, and we'll get the stream rocking and rolling. Here we go. Let me go back here, refresh this page. And then my first time doing this, so please bear with me. I'm still a little new at doing the streams. I'm going to still try and do the best I can though. Awesome. So let's go into this video, and I'll switch over as we go to try and keep kind of make sure I'm looking at the questions and seeing stuff as it comes through. I'm streaming on a couple different pages, so I wanted to make sure I had that. But we'll start at the beginning right here. There's not a lot to be gleaned from someone opening a door. I mean, I guess the postural assessments you can make here. But the main thing that I look at just in this walk here from door to door is a high lack of shoulder movement. So there's very little sway in the shoulders. A lot of times when people walk, they'll sway back and forth in their shoulders. Some people have that very distinctly, others don't. It really just depends. There's no kind of hard line way that people walk. There's a lot of different variations to how people move. But first thing we notice is the lack of movement in the shoulders. Goes to open the door. This was one of the things that came up in the Watts case with looking at some of the Gait stuff there. The person's definitely externally rotated in the feet. That means their toes point out slightly. This is in the general population. This is super common. But you also can see here in this shot, there's a lot of forward head carriage. A lot of people with forward head carriage, but in this case, it's very distinct. But yeah, kind of going back to my other point, the height coupled with FBI statistics on cases like these, I can say with strong confidence that this is definitely not a female. And those are just the facts. And then there's nothing about the movement that makes this look female specifically. I would say this person, just by the way of how their stuff kind of does seem to maybe not fit the best, that this is likely someone who's not fit underneath this clothing. Maybe they're a little bit unkempt. And that was a cue that kind of came off to me in looking at some of the other videos, is this person looks quite a bit unkempt just in how their stuff is fitting. It could be that they were in a hurry, that they're trying to get home. Let me let my dog into the house. They're trying to get out of their home to come carry out this crime. But the forward head carriage is definitely noticeable. We'll continue to watch this video. Strong, you can see here in this shot, again, the external rotation. Persons, I wouldn't call them broad-shouldered, but they are, there is somewhat a broadness to the shoulders. We can definitely say that this is likely a white male, just due to the skin tone. At least we maybe can't say exactly what ethnicity this person is, but we can definitely say that this person is likely not a black perpetrator, just based on this shot here, where we can see we can see a bit of possibly skin tone through the mask, at least just the highlights of it. But even then, it's tough to say, and it's tough to say around the shirt if that's skin showing, or we'll get into some other shots around the neck. What do people think? Do people think that that's skin, or is that a part of the uniform? It's really tough for me to say on that. So I maybe don't want to jump to any kind of conclusions there on what that might be, but I'd love to hear your all's opinions. So we'll let the video continue to run. Again, very little shoulder movement, very little shoulder movement. This person doesn't really move their body when they're looking around. I did want to get to this shot right here. We notice that this person does have a little bit of a stagger in the way they move. So this, they do sort of a lunging motion after stepping with that left foot. Once they hit the plant stage or that step phase, and they begin the swing phase of that right leg, they're kind of lunging forward or stepping through almost in like a limp-like fashion. We'll see if we can glean anything slowing this down a little bit. I don't think so, but we will give it a try. So person stepping through. Yeah, you can definitely see here when we slow this down, that sort of aggressive drop in that left knee, and then we'll actually lock this posture. We'll actually stop this shot. This is a very distinct posture for someone to be in mid stance. Notice both feet are extremely externally rotated in their positioning. Normally, most folks, you just my test or experiment for everyone is to go is to, after this video or during the video, just walk and look at where your toes, just try and walk as natural as possible in video, or look down and see where your toes are pointing. It's not necessarily bad that the toes point out, but it's definitely very distinct. I have clients, patients, people that I've worked with in the past that either have this or don't, or they have it to some extent. Sometimes it's fixable, sometimes it's not. But notice that that lunging forward does not change his posture. I'm going to say his does not change his posture. Notice that there's no lunging forward of the torso. There's a slight dip in that right shoulder that I do notice. So the step, slight dip. We'll go back, watch that shoulder take a slight dip. So these are things, whenever it comes to gait analysis, most people just look at really a couple things. They look at their posture, and then they look at stride length. When I look at gait analysis, or when I look at someone's movement, or just movement analysis in general, you want to notice all of the little idiosyncrasies that the person has. And I said, Stephanie, yes. So yeah, the person's definitely compensating. There's absolutely compensatory movement here on that left leg. So that person's lunging forward with that right, typically because of injury on the left, essentially a limp, for lack of a better term. That's really what it is. It's not horrible. And it's likely due, anytime you see limps like that have been scaled back quite a bit, maybe it's a lot more mild than it was when the injury occurred. But typically when you see that, it usually means that this is kind of just a chronic pain issue that people are dealing with. Hey, thanks for all the people hopping on. I see some more people jumping on here. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. If you are jumping on the video, we're talking about the Missy Bevers case. I'm doing a breakdown. I'm just going to do a full breakdown. How about that? Exclusive VIP stuff. I'm doing a full breakdown on the surveillance video and everything that I see when watching this doggone thing, because we need to see some people brought to justice. We need to see the right people brought to justice. And the only way to do that is to be active in our communities with these investigations, and to keep these on the mind of law enforcement. So yeah, if you have questions, please jump in the chat and leave a question. So anyways, back to the analysis. So whenever we're looking at stuff like this, we're not just looking for stride length and posture. We're looking at little idiosyncrasies like this right shoulder, bop, that little drop in that right shoulder as he extends that right leg. Watch this right shoulder drop, bop. That is, these are the types of details that you want to see. And this, I'm going to do this real time, that you want to try and identify. So we can say, all right, compensatory movement on the right side due to possible chronic pain on the left, or some type of ailment or injury. The person has a kyphotic posture where they're forward head carriage. When this person walks, there's a slight shift of the right, and then it looks like his left shoulder a little bit too, but not quite as noticeable. So there's a shift of the right shoulder inferior, which means he's going down below where that shoulder is. So that shoulder's dropping kind of below that horizontal plane that they're on as he's walking. So shift of the right shoulder. Let's see if it happens again. So let's see if that shoulder drops. Yep, same thing. So this is something that we can say we're likely for sure going to see in the individual that perpetuated this, that carried out this crime. So we see the compensatory movement to right to left. We see the external rotation in the feet. And then we see the drop in that right shoulder. This is, let like I said, just real-time analysis. We're taking a look at the video. Let this thing keep running here. We'll get to this. This is a shot that people show quite a bit. Does look like this person's entire lower body, both legs are definitely externally rotated. Some people call this kind of bow-leggedness. That's definitely it. Here, we're about to see what I made my video about right here. This quick little jolt up right there. So this is great to be seen in slow motion because you can really see what's going on here. This person's looking down just into the window at this point. So right now they're peering. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. If you could see my mouse, they're peering in about this angle right here, almost looking down to see if maybe like a light's on, or I don't know. You can only have suspicion. You can't really know for sure. But they're peering down. But notice something does seem to catch their attention quickly. And this person, we're watching this here in quarter speed. The person looks up very quickly. So something catches their attention. They look up. Notice on that look up, it is a quick push of the hips forward. Hips go forward. Head tilts back. This was one of the more interesting things that I found in doing this analysis. So they're basically shifting their entire body back in order to compensate, to look forward. Could be because of the helmet. I heard that, but this person had no issue looking down at that 45-degree angle. They really don't seem to be in a position where I see the helmet being an issue with their line of vision. I don't buy that one. I really don't. So we'll continue to watch. Kind of let's go back to normal speed here just to see if we can catch anything first at normal speed. So again, person's walking away, definitely externally rotated, knees out, toes out, all that good stuff. As I said earlier in the video, due to the door jambs being about 7 feet, it's a great way to gauge perspective, although we can't be 100% certain. Really interesting here. Oh man, wow, a lot of good stuff here. Notice the elbow position. This is not a normal way to walk, folks. Notice how this person is walking with those elbows. You could darn near stick like a you guys know the little swimming pool noodles? You could darn near stick a swimming pool noodle on right up in that person's armpits. I guarantee you could stick a swimming pool noodle up in those armpits and that sucker would fit in there. So again, as this person looks up, we see that forward shift to the hips just a little bit. You see the high lift. The person lifts their feet rather high when they walk. That's an interesting aspect to this. Absolutely externally rotated. I just can't get over that. It's so not necessarily unique, but it is very distinct. Also, you see how far those elbows are positioned away from the torso. That's equally interesting to me. Yeah, leave a like or a thumbs up if you like pool noodles. That was a pool. I guess that's what they call them here in the States. It's the long, skinny things that people float on. You see kids use, and thumbs up or like and subscribe if you like pool noodles. So let's continue to go surveillance footage here. Let's see. Yeah. So it looks like we're down. This is where the person begins to look like they do some damage to the building. Gosh, I wish you can see more here. This would be really interesting. Oh, this would be really interesting. So it looks like he goes down that hallway right there. I guess that's what's going on. I guess this is a little hallway into a door. They go through the door. Boy, oh man, I wish there were a little bit more here. Oh man. I know Armchair Detectives talked about what's being held in that person's hand. Here you get a really good shot of almost that 90-degree angle with the feet. Notice that that left toe is pointed out straight forward. That right foot is cocked back in that 90-degree position. Just a really, really, really interesting aspect. M. Johnson, thank you for leaving a comment. I would love to know who you think it is. Feel free to comment. I'm going to avoid naming names just trying to do this the right, honest way. I'm going to avoid naming names, but it can definitely be implied. I'd love to hear what people think. Man, if I keep growing these, I'll have to make Stephanie a moderator. Thank you so much for the support. Yeah, the alibi stuff is weird because of everything that I found. This gentleman was cleared because of the alibi. However, the alibi seems to only have come from the source of the alibi, which is the perpetrator or the suspect themselves. So it's really, really crazy. I don't know why we have gotten this far with this case and we're still here. So I am going to real quick. So we did the breakdown. I'll do these more often. We did the breakdown of how that person walks. We identified some things with the shoulder. We identified some things with the external rotation of the feet, the click back of the head, right? Head and neck area. So we're going to, as well as we also looked at the elbow position in relationship to the torso. And how far those doggone elbows are away from the torso when this person walks. Could be some of it is the uniform, but man, I don't know. I don't know about that. I have a strong hunch that that's just how this person moves. So let's do this. Let's go to the other video. Let's look at the person that is potentially the suspect, if you will. I'm going to get it pulled up, and we will continue to dive into this with the information we now know from analyzing. Make sure the volume's down here. From analyzing that initial video, let's see what we can glean here. So. Let me get it pulled up. I don't have it pulled up yet. Thank you guys so much for being patient. I really, really appreciate it. So we're going to go Chrome tab right here. There we go. All right. Hopefully you guys can see the video now. We're going to look at some things. And we're going to maybe make some people mad. That's okay. I think this stuff needs to be done. I think if we don't push the envelope a little bit. So man, I watched right off the bat. Here we go, guys. Here we go. The Be Wise Fitness clan as well as the Armchair Detective clan. Oh, whoops. Too many buttons. Clicking too many buttons. Don't want to watch that one right now. Maybe we'll do that one later. Let me go back. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Like I said, still kind of new to this, so let me shift here to some half speed. I want to go to quarter playback speed, and we're going to break some stuff down as we did earlier. Let the video run through, and I'll kind of talk to you guys about what I see. Let it play through, Going quarter speed can sometimes be a bit annoying. So I'm just going to talk about it. First thing, absolutely kyphotic posture. So that forward head carriage is distinct. Person's not bulky, and our person is not extremely obese, but I would say definitely overweight. Just clinically, I'm not shaming anyone. Just speaking, just in facts. Any thoughts on investigation? You did further investigate suspects. Hey, Deborah, thank you for jumping on. Yeah, Thoughts on this? Yeah, so this one we're talking about the Missy Bevers case, breaking down some of the things that in the police surveillance footage that was released. So kind of going back here, I'll try and go back and forth to make sure I see questions. So we'll let this run through at quarter speed. So the two things we definitely notice: kyphotic head posture, forward head carriage. Notice, let's see if we can catch anything interesting here. Let's see if we'll let it play through. That's interesting. I can't tell if this is camera or if this is the person, but we'll watch this step. That left leg comes forward, right shoulder drops. Remember, we identified that early on in last video. Left leg comes forward, that right foot hits, right shoulder drops. Can't tell if it's camera, but either way, just something to be interested about. Right shoulder drops. It's very subtle. Step with the left, right shoulder drops. Remember earlier I said you can stick an inner tube between that perpetrator's elbows? Holy cow, look what we got here. Such interesting data. I think this is some stuff that we have got to consider, just with the information we have in front of us in terms of the surveillance footage. I just think it's way too convenient. Thank you guys for hopping on and leaving questions. Yeah, total lack of due diligence. I'm with you. I think that I think this case was, I think the boat was missed. So earlier we did, and if you're just hopping on now, please go back and watch later. We did a breakdown of the full surveillance video, just things we saw. One of the things we saw was the elbow position away from the body. Definitely something we're seeing here. As far as height goes, this, luckily, we have door jams in America that are usually always about 7 feet. This individual, I believe, is going to walk through the door, if I remember this video correctly, here shortly. Let's see. Fast forward. So the person is now directly underneath the door jamb, and the height is very close. Just something that we've just data. Take all of this right now just as data. I wouldn't necessarily say this is absolutely 100% fact. This is just data that we've got to consider when looking at this case. So we'll kind of go back and rehash what did we see in the surveillance video, which we can't really see right here. Let's go a little bit further. Let's see if we can add some more checkpoints to this. Let's see if how much step this person picks up going forward. So oh man, no, you guys remember talking about that external rotation of the feet, that foot position upon the mid stance phase? Can you guys see my mouse? This is interesting. This is interesting because this is what we saw in the surveillance clip. That external rotation of the entire leg, the elbows quite a bit away from the body. Let's see if we can notice any lunging of that. Gosh darn it. Let's see if we can notice. Oh, man, it's so subtle. Let's see if we can notice any lunging forward. That right leg, it's really tough to say here. Really tough. Let's watch this first step. Yeah, tough to say. Definitely left shoulder drop, right shoulder drop. The foot position during the like mid swing or mid stance phase, to me, based on the surveillance video, is problematic. It's problematic at best, but I would say it's almost just sheer lack of due diligence that someone maybe didn't sit and break this down like it needed to be broken down. So the other thing I wanted to kind of mention is the lack of shoulder movement during the walk, other than the right and left drop of that shoulder slightly upon each step. We do also see that here. So notice there's a slight drop. When the left hits, the left shoulder drops a little bit. When the right hits, the right shoulder drops a little bit. Just something we see. But this is problematic right here. That to me is where the issue lies, because we'll go back to the surveillance footage. That's where I need to set up 2 screens so I can do this a little bit better. But we'll notice the position of the feet. If you guys can see my mouse right here, this is called the mid stance phase. Is where both feet are on the ground and we're looking at foot position. I wouldn't say this is a fingerprint by any means, but if this is distinct, it absolutely is a way to identify someone. At least, maybe not identify, but absolutely you can rule someone in or out. Very, very possible. Stephanie, good question. She was really fit. However, man, when somebody has a weapon, it's so tough to know how you would react. Potentially, let's say this person was someone that they trusted. I mean, that's a tough spot, to defend yourself or hurt someone that she obviously didn't have any hate or malice in her heart, it seemed. But when you're going against someone who does have that hate, who does have that malice, that oftentimes the loving people find it very hard to hurt people in any scenario that they love or that they care for. And all that needed to happen would just be a blindside attack. A blindside attack would absolutely get this done. Even not a blindside attack, you're still talking about a woman that's likely quite a bit smaller than, not likely, definitely is quite a bit smaller than the suspect, based on the surveillance video, assuming that is the suspect that we see, which I think we can. The person is definitely bigger than her, and if she knew the person. But you also don't know how people react in certain scenarios. There's certain people that the fight or flight that kicks in is different for everyone. Nobody is the same. Some people are going to want to stand up and fight and give it all they got. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe there's a reason. I don't know if they checked the suspect or the person of interest, any of these people, for defensive wounds or anything of that nature. But if they didn't, they should have. Maybe there would be minimal because of the protective gear. Maybe the protective gear was not only a disguise, but also a forensic countermeasure in order to not have as many injuries. There's a lot of reasons people might do things maybe that we're not even necessarily thinking about. But before I end this today, I want to go back, and after looking at this video, we'll go back again to the other one. So we'll stop this here. We'll shift over. And we'll go in and share my other screen and give the people who showed up a little bit later a chance to see what we were looking at earlier. And just some of the things I think where the mark was maybe missed by the PD. Some interesting things that we got to consider. So person coming through, okay, person opening door. Height is definitely consistent with the person of interest I just showed in the video before. Nothing really interesting about opening the door. You really can't glean a lot from this. It's such small micro movement. It's really hard to tell. and it's just kind of hit and miss with what's actually usable. So we'll watch the walk here real quick, but then we'll get over into the other side, kind of the meat and potatoes of this. Person's definitely walking quickly. Here in this video, we'll let it cycle around. So remember what I showed earlier when I stopped the video. I'm looking at that individual's feet. The orientation of left foot to right foot is almost 100% identical. To me, that's you got to run with that as an investigative tool. You have to make sure that you absolutely have a good alibi for this person. We'll go back to so back there. We'll go forward a little bit because I want to get to this person walking away. So they're walking back out of the room here shortly. Oh, nope, already out of the room. So now they're just walking forward. As I said earlier, as I noted the position of the elbows and orientation to the torso. That is highly problematic based on the video that I just showed of the individual walking into the police station. That is very, 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 very distinct. So there you go. I have heard that the wife was potentially his alibi. I couldn't find that in writing from the case notes that I had received, some of the case file. So that was very interesting. And Dark Horse, thank you for commenting. Thank you for showing up on this. I appreciate it. I wouldn't necessarily say I think it's someone or think it isn't someone. What I am saying is there's a lot of aspects with this specific surveillance footage and alibis or supposed alibis that just don't seem solid enough to me, and it caused people to maybe be cleared a little bit too early. And I think they're worth a second look, because from what everything I gleaned, look heavy like I would disagree with that. This person in the video is definitely heavier set. I would, so in the video earlier on, I talked about two things. One, it's absolutely not a female, just based on what we know. Was it human blood? So some people thought it was pregnant. Yeah, I wouldn't say pregnant woman either. So here's the issue, and I'll kind of go back to what I talked about in the beginning. The reason for not being a female is just statistical data. There are the 1 in a million chances. However, the statistics say that the chances of female committing a crime like this are very, 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 very low. And yeah, the perpetrator is absolutely heavier set. I mean, I can say this for a couple reasons. It kind of correlates with what I know and see on a daily basis in terms of posture and what I'm looking at. Also looking at this person in relation to their size as they're coming down the hallway, standing in the door jambs, things of that nature. This person is absolutely absolutely heavier set. Sorry, get caught reading some of the messages. This person's definitely heavier set. The father-in-law is equally heavier set. That technically would be considered overweight. I would probably consider the perpetrator, without saying 100% certainty. Let's kind of go back here in this video. Perpetrator is likely overweight too, and there's some things there just in how certain people move who are overweight that just show up. some of the instability in certain areas, the way they move on their feet, that just people who are fitter don't necessarily move in that same respect. So yeah, so I've seen a lot of people say they think it's a female. Thank you for saying that. When it comes to alibis, I really like alibis to be corroborated by some type of neutral, objective source. Anytime you have an alibi from a family member or from the suspect themselves, that is highly problematic. There are people who've been convicted of crimes or not convicted of crimes when they maybe were the perpetrator, just from flimsy alibis. To me, a wife is never considered an alibi. Yes, exactly, Stephanie. Receipts from trip or other witnesses. I'm with you 100%. A wife as the alibi, which I never saw where for sure the wife, and everything I looked at, where they said the wife was another witness to his trip. From everything I saw, it was his words himself. But even if it just was his wife, to me, that is not enough to rule someone out. Absolutely not enough. In fact, far from it. I would say that I would still be highly suspicious. As far as it looking like a female, I said it earlier in the video, you really can't, there's no good markers for someone necessarily being a male or a female in terms of looking at how they move. Sometimes there's like a broaden. You can look at proportions. There's a broadness to shoulders, a narrowness of hips, certain sway in the hips when someone walks. That's in kind of another case that we looked at. But there's not always a telltale sign, which is what makes some of this really tough. There's no like foolproof way that a female moves and 100% way that a male moves. So you can't really judge on that. From experience, in working with movement every day, working with people overcoming injuries and chronic pain and getting them to their body to move more effectively, more efficiently, you can notice certain things that men do that are subtle, but I'm also coupling my database of data in me assuming this is a male, as well as the FBI statistical data of the likelihood that a crime like this would occur. And I can't remember the number right off the bat, but the number is somewhere in like less than 1% of crimes in this nature, personal homicides or close attack homicides with an invasion, are in this case, or like a sneak attack invasion or a murder in this case, almost are never, ever by and large committed by females. And those are just the numbers. It's very low. So not only is this just a crazy case just because of the surveillance and stuff, but then you would also have to say that this is a crazy case because this is the 1 in a billion chance that it was also carried out by a female. I would say the person definitely fits their clothing or uniform that they're wearing. It's just a little bit oversized. It's not like somebody wearing a ton of clothes that don't fit. Hyperextended knees. So that their knees they're not really hyperextended. They're externally rotated. Hyperextension would be if they walked with more of a straight-legged nature. Hyperextension is going into extension, so full straight leg, right? When your knee is bent, you're in flexion. When you're straight, you're in extension. What this person has is a little bit more of a bow-legged effect. We'll go to that piece of that video where we can look at that. more of a bow-leggedness is what kind of your grandmother would might call it, or your aunt and uncle. My grandmother used to say bow-legged or pigeon-toed or whatnot. Thank you all for hopping on too. I so appreciate this. I haven't done one of these in a while. Haven't done a ton of lives. So I'm super excited to part of the definitely white person. Yeah, I would agree. Statistically, it's likely a white person, just based on the nature of the crime and what the I've looked at all of like the numbers on, like, whenever you're doing stuff like this, I think it helps to have a good frame of reference for how often certain types of crimes occur and who those perpetrators always are. Thank you, Stephanie. You're so kind. But the hyperextension of the knees, let me get back to where I was at on that. We will look at a couple of these shots here. And I think this is what you meant. So watching this person come forward, and really the other shot is probably better. So that they actually have the opposite happen. Their knees really never come out of flexion. So even at this point, I can't tell. He may be wearing knee pads. Who knows? This person is obviously a crazy person. But even in the phase right here, let's go forward. So right here, there. Normally by that point, people are mostly in extension where that leg straightens out quite a bit. This person never really comes out of flexion. Notice the slight bend in the knee here. Absolutely a bend in the knee there. And even here, tough to say. It looks like there may be a piece of the uniform, because this does look like a bit of a misshapen leg. So I think there's some maybe juxtaposition or something funky going on with what we're seeing there as far as how we're viewing that. So it's really tough to say. It just doesn't look at the kind of first-hand view. It doesn't necessarily look right, but I don't think hyperextension would be the word there. But but I do know what you meant by that. But it's good whenever we're talking about this stuff to convey it to other people that we can use kind of the right terminology. Yeah, here you see a lot of people are closer to a straight leg by this phase in their walk. We'll go through right there and right there. This person goes into flexion pretty quick. This knee stays in flexion. And this is actually the shot earlier that I wanted to get, that we looked at the person of interest in the other video. This is almost an identical view or an identical position of the person of interest feet. So just some interesting stuff. I'm going to do some more of these. I think that'll probably be it for the day. I don't want to bore you guys with my voice and my talking, but I absolutely appreciate you all hopping on. Thank you so much for the support. This video will obviously be up where you can go back and watch it and comment and break things down and tell me what you think. I love and appreciate everybody jumping on here today. Thank you so much. Let me know if there's anything you want me to do later. I will gladly do that for you. Gladly answer questions. Please reach out to me. Instagram at BeWiseFitness. Thank you for watching the replay. Awesome. www.bewisefitness.com is my website. If anybody ever wants online coaching, virtual coaching, you have like chronic issues or anything going on like that, I will absolutely be more than willing to help you. Thank you so much. I'm going to jump off here, but you guys have an awesome day. Please watch the replay, leave comments, holler at me. I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much.